Coming up on show 872, the Porsche Taycan is going to feature downloadable upgrades and, in theory, downgrades as well. Stick around, I'll tell you more. Plus, the Lucid Air will be the fastest charging EV and offer vehicle-to-grid through their new home charger. Panasonic investing $100 million in Tesla's Gigafactory in Nevada, and the first Polestar space for the UK. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. This is the edition for Thursday, 20th of August. My name is Martyn Lee, and I go through every EV story so you don't have to. It's a real toss-up today of what do we put first in the news. Is it going to be the Porsche story or the Lucid Air story? Well, considering I went with Lucid yesterday for the sighting of their new SUV, let's go with Porsche first today, although arguably some would argue that the Lucid story is even bigger. But first of all, starting with the new Porsche Taycan, as of next month in October, there'll be a new model year Taycan. It's being upgraded. It's going to be quicker, so we get faster speeds, 0 to 60, but also numerous innovations for the Taycan at the change of the model year. Firstly, new plug and charge function. Plug and charge is a new technology that is automated charging and payment. It's the dream. It's what every non-Tesla owner actually wants. And they're getting it shortly with other cars, but firstly with the Taycan. So all you have to do is plug into the charger. You pull up to the charger and you plug it in. All of the things like the handshake, the billing, it's a little bit like your Apple iTunes account or any account really, that like your Netflix account. You have your credit card in there, they bill you every month. Well, this is the same with plug and charge. You put your card details into your account, and whenever you charge, it just gets taken out of your card. It's just the perfect answer to the charging problems that we have of a wallet full of RFID cards and things like that. So also on the new Porsche Taycan, they're going to have something called FOD or FOD, Functions on Demand. This is potentially huge, see what you think, as well as the faster acceleration as well. Physical changes to the new Taycan, a colour head-up display, an onboard charger that is now 22 kilowatts AC for the onboard charger. It says Electrive. Well, the plug and charge technology is based around the ISO standard. Sometimes you'll see it written ISO 15118, and all it means is that the car charges when you plug it in. Plug and charge is ready to go on the Ionity stations in Germany, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Italy and the Czech Republic, 12 more European countries following at the beginning of next year. And according to Porsche, in the US and Canada, plug and charge soon available with Electrify America and Electrify Canada at many of their charging points as of the start of next year. Drivers can subscribe, or if you want to a subscription service, or you can opt in for certain functions with the new Taycan as well. Other new features on demand, they call it FOD or FODs, include automated driving features like active lane keep assist that keeps the vehicle in the centre of the lane, and continuous steering intervention as well. There's something called InnoDrive, which adapts the speed of the car to the conditions ahead of you. Both functions are available if you want to rent them monthly or lease them monthly, I guess. I don't know, subscribe to them monthly. You can pay about €20 a month for both of those. If you want to purchase them, if you think you'll always want those features on your car, you can permanently purchase them for €808. But if you think, I'm going to be using my car around town, or I don't know, like if you say you have a Taycan at your second home and you're not going to drive it for 6 months. I'm thinking of examples when you wouldn't want these features. But maybe you are going to go through a period where you do want to subscribe to these functions like active lane keep assist, or sort of the autopilot system, and InnoDrive, so that it can look at the GPS and where you're going, and it'll adapt to your speed according to the conditions and all those kind of things. Well, then you can pay your $20 a month and subscribe to it and stop whenever you want to stop. As per Autocar, for the new 2021 model year, there's a battery preservation function that restricts charging capacity where appropriate, and it will reduce the power loss because the batteries degrade. The more that we pump power into them, drain them quickly as well. Batteries have a finite life. It's a very, very long time. But if you would like to eke a little more out of your battery, and really, look, the early EVs are still going strong. Battery life isn't a problem. But if you do, and you're at an 800-volt Ionity rapid charging station, or Electrify America or Electrify Canada, there's a new function of the Taycan. You can select it on the system, and it'll limit the charging to about 200 kilowatts. Just that slightly slower speed gives you a little bit more longevity out of the battery. Over the long term, I should say. Well, the Taycan can be specified with what's called Power Guard, which prevents a system overload when charging domestically. And you can use it as well. This technology you can use. So if you have solar panels on your home, this new function with the Taycan will know when you are sending to the grid, and it will charge the car with excess solar. Now, that's something that I can do with my particular charger. I have one from a company called Ionity. It's the Zappi V2. Now, I don't have solar panels yet, but they're coming by the end of the year. And so I'll be able to do the same thing, but through my charger. It sounds like this new technology with the Taycan. It's called Power Guard, and it means that the car looks after it with the onboard charger. That's how it reads. It's really impressive. So that's your Porsche news for today. I'll pop a link to Autocar and Elect Drive in the show notes if you'd like to read more. Now for your Lucid news. Also, big news. Today we found out the Lucid Air, the new saloon sedan coming from them early next year, will be the fastest charging EV on the road. It's going to charge at 300 kilowatts of power. That's 300 miles of range in 20 minutes. I can't think of a time when I would want to add 300 miles of range in less than 20 minutes. Now, we recently learned that the Air has an estimated 517 miles of EPA driving range. Combined with fast charging, charging at over 300 kilowatts of power, it'll make the Lucid Air the choice for long road trips, says Tom Mologney at Inside EVs. The Lucid has the best of both worlds. It can charge at the highest rate of any EV on the market, and it's one of the most efficient EVs. And that combination makes it the fastest going EV, as in it's very, very efficient, so it goes further, and then when you do reach a charging stop, it charges quicker. It's the fastest EV to go point to point, and it can recharge, like I say, 20 miles of range a minute, which is mad, isn't it? 20 miles of range a minute on a 900-volt electrical architecture. They've got some custom lithium-ion cells. They are using the 2170 form factor cells, which you find in Tesla Model 3 and Model Y, a cutting-edge BMS, battery management system, and thermal management system, and the powertrain is efficient as well. Lucid has a 19.2 kilowatt onboard charger for AC charging. That'll do 80 miles of range in an hour. So again, if you come across a 22 kilowatt three-phase charging post, or pile, as they call them in many countries, then you can charge really quickly. The other big bit of news is Lucid is developing a home charger that claims it'll be the world's first AC charging station for your home with bi-directional charging. Most EV chargers are one-directional, meaning electricity flows from the grid to the vehicle. Now, there are some bi-directional chargers, normally with the CHAdeMO plug, and in Japan they've got some stuff very interesting going on, trial projects around the world, but nothing really. The CHAdeMO standard, the CHAdeMO plug, is bi-directional, but there are these pilot programs around the world which are being done with the CCS plug or Type 2 plugs, but they're small scale. Sounds like Lucid have cracked this. So your home charger will be able to use the battery in the car. So if there's a power cut in your home, if you've got an off-grid vacation property, Lucid say, and they, according to the Verge website at least, that their home charger will be bi-directional. The first one ever offered. I can't imagine it's going to be cheap, but the Lucid Air is not going to be a cheap car to begin with. So maybe those buyers have got the funds to purchase that. I can't wait to see this in action. It's going to generate so many headlines when it finally hits the market. Panasonic is boosting production of batteries for Tesla. Next year, they're going to invest another $100 million, the Nikkei learned today. The investment will be made at Giga Nevada, Gigafactory 1, aka the battery plant in Nevada with 13 production lines. Panasonic's going to add a 14th production line, adding 10% capacity. That means the theoretical capacity of that Gigafactory is 39 gigawatt hours. Last we heard from Elon Musk, they're nowhere near reaching that, but it does mean that if they're increasing the capacity, they must have made some gains since the last time we heard on an earnings call that they were in the the 20-somethings, like mid-20s. It was a long time ago. I remember Elon talking about how they weren't using the full capacity. Well, if they're adding more capacity, it must mean because they need it. It's the first capacity expansion of Giga Nevada since 2017. Panasonic's upgrading the batteries as well, made there, increasing the storage by 5%. We knew that was coming. That was reported a little while ago, but it looks like those cells are going to start rolling off the lines in September. Annual production capacity will exceed 1 million vehicles next year. The capacity for battery production is also increasing, Panasonic officials told the Nikkei.com website. Polestar has announced the location of its first UK space, Westfield in London, also known as Westfield White City or Westfield Shepherd's Bush. It's a shopping centre. It's, by the way, if you're interested, if you go to the top floor of the car park, nice little bank of Tesla superchargers to use there. But anyway, I digress. This is about Polestar. If you know it, then Westfield is a big location for footfall. According to the website conceptcars.com, the Westfield space will be at the heart of where people go shopping and relaxing. It's one of those places that is just full of every possible shop that you want. It'll have a Samsung store, a Microsoft store, an Apple store, jewelry stores. The top floor is all the restaurants and stuff like that. It's just huge. It's rammed on a quiet day. And now Polestar are opening up at Westfield. The minimalist design and integrated digital interactivity means the product remains the focus. The Polestar specialists are non-commissioned, so they are there to help you, not make a sale, and they will direct you to the website to order your car directly if you want to buy it in store. Let's talk about plug-in hybrids from Volvo, Polestar's half-owner. Arriving ahead of early 2021 of the fully electric XC40. I love that car. It's too expensive for me, but I love that car. It's 10 grand more than the Polestar. The new XC40 Recharge plug-in hybrid comes in two variants now, T4 and T5. Well, it comes with the new T4 plug-in hybrid, lower power, lower price, opening up hybrid technology to a wider market in the UK. 1.5 litre three-cylinder engine, 82 horsepower motor, and a 7-speed automatic transmission. The battery is a tiddler, 10.7 kilowatt hours, about 27 miles all-electric range on that, says the Fleet World website. But it's going to come in at sub £40,000. That means that you don't pay the annual £325 surcharge in this country of vehicle excise duty. And for $39,130 on the road, you can get your cars from October 2020, the new lower-priced Recharge T4 plug-in hybrid. And in the States, Volvo just cut their prices on their plug-in hybrid lineup. According to an early order guide, prices for the 2021 model year Recharge T8 plug-in hybrids are $7,750 cheaper than the current models. The S60 T8 is plug-in hybrid, and it just got cheaper, starting at $48,500, including destination. That is $7,750 less than the current model, says carsdirect.com. Given the price cut is only on the plug-ins, it means the price point moves closer towards the combustion versions, which is very, very good news. Well, firstly, thanks to Jim. Now, Jim Burness at nationalcarcharging.com, one of our sponsors, emailed me yesterday because I was asking you about the Lucid story. Lucid were doing a filming day with their new secretive SUV, and I read that the CHP had blocked the road. And what did it stand for? Jim emailed me to say it was the California Highway Patrol. Thank you for kindly informing me of that. Well, electric vehicle drivers, I mentioned Jim, you see, because he also runs AlohaCharge.com. Let's talk Hawaii. Electric vehicle drivers can now power up at a brand new Hawaiian electric DC fast charging station at the Pukalani Terrace Centre in upcountry Maui, says Hawaiian Electric website. Publicly accessible DC fast charging, owned and operated by Hawaiian Electric, actually is a lot cheaper during the day because in Hawaii, lots of solar energy, typically abundant, cheaper. Now here, I get the cheapest prices overnight, but I'm in rainy, cloudy Great Britain. I'm not in lovely, luscious, sunny Hawaii. Now, the company expects to install new fast chargers with the EV Maui rate at 3 more locations once the agreements are confirmed for the sites. Let's go to Russia. As reported by the Spanish newspaper La Vanguardia, Russia just made the world's cheapest EV. Well, I would question that because there are some very cheap EVs in China, but they say it's because those cars aren't real cars. Anyway, the new electric car that the Russians have made is called the Zeta CM1. Out at the end of the year, price tag of €5,000, which is cheap, designed and developed by the Russian engineering and manufacturing company, says the website russautonews.com. It's got hub motors, 4 of them, 27 horsepower hub motors. It'll do 120 kilometers an hour. It's got a 10 kilowatt hour battery. And, I've got shoes bigger than this car. Only joking. It's a very, very small city car. They claim it's okay for 4 adults. I'm not sure you'd get much speed out of it with 4 adults in. It is tiny. It's smaller than a smart car by the look of it. I can't find the dimensions online, but you know what? Go Russia for bringing an EV to the market. German state regulators are requiring solar panels on new non-residential buildings. Many buildings get made with no thought of rooftop solar. The German state of Baden-Württemberg is changing that in its jurisdiction. It's requiring that all new non-residential buildings have solar panels on them from 2022, says the website Clean Technica. This follows a city-state of Hamburg passing a similar law that goes into effect in 2023. As a new building is being put up, everyone must take into account putting solar panels on top for non-residential buildings. I mean, look, they have to think about the walls, the roof, putting the building up. Why not also build solar panels into the roof? I mean, you've got to think about hooking the building up to the electric grid if you're building a new non-residential building. So why not think about solar at the same time? Typically, it hasn't been a payback for developers to do this. And if there's no payback, why would they do it out of the kindness of their hearts? But now, regulation says they have to. And the final story today, it's looking like the UK is remaining with the EU, the European Union regulations on emissions, after we leave the Union at the end of this year. A new consultation is being put out for comments until later this week. According to Electrive, this will then become legislation, and the UK will mirror and keep the EU's emission reduction targets for cars and vans. From 2025, they've got to go down by 15%, and by 2030 by 37.5% CO2 emissions reductions. Car makers will face fines. And, of course, they were facing fines of euros, and now we're leaving, so it'll be pounds. Car makers will face a fine of £86 per gram of CO2 exceeded across the fleet of cars they sell. The limit is 95 grams per kilometre. Car manufacturers will still base their targets on the average weight of vehicles sold. So the UK not making anything more lenient, but also not making things tighter. Like, it happens in California. Often California over the last 20 years has led the green revolution in many ways because California is so big. They can say, right, if you want to sell cars here, here's your standards to set with emissions. And of course, it tightens things up for the rest of the world, really. So the UK saying, you know what, we're just going to stick to what we agreed with the EU. Not making things any tighter, but not giving the car makers an easy ride. And that's a good thing because the UK does have some pretty ambitious clean air targets. I don't trust any politician as far as I can throw them. I'm sure there are some good ones, but still too many bad apples. And I don't know, I think people say what they've got to say to get elected. So sorry for being cynical. This is a very, very positive podcast. I make every day as positive as possible. This is just like 20-25 minutes of sheer positivity and optimism about our electric future. But very occasionally I'll allow myself to be a little bit cynical. And forgive me if I don't believe every politician when they tell me that they are greener than green. Anyway, that's your show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to contact me, the email address is hello@evnewsdaily.com, and on the website evnewsdaily.com. You'll see it looks a little different than it used to. I've given it a bit of a zhuzh, a little bit of a spring clean in August. It looks a little different, but the contact button is now much clearer at the top. Just email me from there if you want to. Well, there are 871 previous shows of this podcast online. I mean, it's a real honour to do this for you, and I appreciate your time. And for many people, your investment as well on Patreon, which, if you want to check it out, is patreon.com/evnewsdaily. You don't have to. I'll always do this show for free, but I couldn't do it without Patreon. So if you ever want to have a look and decide. It's like $5 or $10, a couple of posh coffees a month to spread the news about this incredible journey we're on to the rest of the world. It does help me reach more people. Thank you so much for my premium partners. I mention them every day. Phil Roberts of Electric Future, Brad Crosby, Avid Technology, Porsche of the Village in Cincinnati, Audi of Cincinnati East, Volvo Cars of Cincinnati East, NationalCarCharging.com and AlohaCharge.com, and now Derek Riley with his EV Review Ireland YouTube channel. Have a wonderful day. Catch you tomorrow for Friday's edition. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.